Alright, boys and girls, we are on Lesson 3, working with the Apple loops and arranging a song. You guys are going to be going through the book by yourselves from page 73 all the way up to 94. Just allow that book to lead you through each step. But on page 94, at the bottom, we've got building rhythm tracks in the timeline. And that's where I'm going to pick up this video. Building rhythm tracks in the timeline on page 94. It says this, it says, in the next series of exercises, you'll learn not only how to physically manipulate, that means arrange, the loops in the timeline, but why you'd want to. Since you're building the song around the melody region, we'll start there. So number one, at the bottom of page 94, number one, drag the top right edge of the twilight piano region toward the right to the beginning of bar 20. Use the yellow cycle area as a guide if needed. Yeah, look at the yellow cycle area, guys. It goes all the way from 1 to 20. That's a great guide. If you need to pull out this playhead and drag it over, you can do that. Here is the twilight piano. I'm going to place my cursor of my mouse in the upper right hand corner. Click and drag it over. You'll notice it looks like it repeats itself one full time to bar 17 and then 3 additional measures right here. Going to page 95, number 2, mute all 3 of the slow motion tracks and both blueprint tracks. So muting 1, 2, all 3 slow motion, and then 1, 2, both blueprints. It says here, play the entire piece while listening to the changes in the twilight piano melody as it plays. Here's some things to listen for. The interesting Doppler-like changes to the music, as if it were on a yo-yo moving closer, then further away repeatedly. Parts of the melody where you anticipate change and it happens just as you thought it would, like bars 3, 5, and 7. Part of the melody that repeats, that's bar 5 and 9. Parts of the melody that build, bar 2, 5, and 8. Parts of the melody that slow or soften, that's bar 3 and 6. Any of these musical moments could be excellent places to make dramatic changes in the rhythm track to support the melodic changes. Now, since we have this looped out, really we only need to play from 1 to 9. We don't need to keep playing because that gives us all the information that we need. Everything else is just repeated. So my playhead's over here at 20. I'm going to press enter or return, and that puts the playhead back at 0. And once I press spacebar, it's going to play. So let's listen real quick. Alright, so you can hear just the timbre of the sound of that twilight piano swelling. It gets brighter and then darker, then brighter, then darker. It's a swell. It's like an ebb and flow. And that's all due to a EQ filter sweep. Number 4, it tells us to extend the big maracas, that's O2 region, so that it repeats 2 times. We want it to repeat 2 times, stopping at bar 5. So once again, here's my big maracas track. There's my region. My cursor's in the upper corner. I click and I drag and I stop that at 5. If I want to make sure I'm exact, I can go ahead and put my playhead up there. If I need to zoom in, I can always zoom in to make sure I'm exact. And that looks good. Flipping the page to 96, it says play the beginning of the project to hear the maracas with the melody. It says so far so good, though I think it's time to kick in the slow motion beat. How about bar 3, where the first part of the melody changes and begins to retreat acoustically as if it's moving away? Let's listen to that real quick and see if bar 3 would be a good place. Yeah, right there. Sounds like a good place. So number 6, unmute the slow motion beat 02 track. All right. Slow motion beat 02 is right here. I'm going to unmute it. It gives me color right here instead of gray. And drag the region in that track to the right until it begins at bar 3. If it helps you to line this up, go ahead and put your playhead right at bar 3, and we know that we need to drag this all the way over to bar 3. So I can simply click on it and drag it over. It says this is also where the maracas region repeats. Play the beginning to hear the new arrangement. Pressing enter or return to put that playhead back at 0. Pressing spacebar to play. All right. Continue with number 6. Sounds pretty cool. Starts lively, and then the slow motion beat joins in with the maracas and brings the percussion to life, as though an audience just joined in with claps and stomps to the beat. Number 7. Unmute the blueprint beat 03 track. Drag the region in that track so that it starts at bar 7. All right, so 03, blueprint 03, right there, unmuted. I'm moving my region over, or my playhead over to bar 7, so that will give me the correct place to drag this region over to. So I've done that now. It's at bar 7. It says this is where the melody instrumentation change repeats and intensifies as though it's coming toward us. Overlapping the two beats will intensify the beat as well. Also, the new heavier beat indicates this delicate piano melody is ready to switch things up to dance mode. And you can't see me right now, but I think that when I push play, I might start dancing at measure 7. Just imagine it. It's going to be good. Pressing return or enter to put that playhead back at 0. Pressing spacebar to play. All right, moving on. Instead of manually extending the blueprint beat 03 region to the end of the project, you'll use a handy looping shortcut. Number 8 on page 97 says select the blueprint beat 03 region if it isn't already selected. We can press L now. So by pressing L, look at that. If I press L again, it goes away. So what L does, that's a shortcut, that will loop whatever region you have selected all the way to the end of the cycle mode, or all the way to the end of where you've placed the end of the song. And that's been placed at bar 20. The region extends to the end of the project marker that is conveniently located at this project at bar 20, or for this project at bar 20. Number 9, play the project. Let's play it. Alright, it says it sounds good, but the second half gets pretty boring pretty fast with no changes to the rhythm. Let's reuse the slow motion beat 02 region later in the track. So number 10, it says to option drag the slow motion beat 02 region and place the duplicate so it starts at bar 12. Bar 12. I'm going to go ahead and drag this playhead over to bar 12 so I know exactly where it needs to be. We want to click on slow motion beat 02, and then what we're going to be doing is we're going to option drag it. Option drag. That creates a duplicate, and now that's at bar 12, and it goes all the way to the end of the song. In number 10, it says, notice that the full name of the duplicate beat is called Slow Motion Beat 02.2 because it's the second version of the original Slow Motion Beat 02 file in the timeline. Moving on, it says, let's trim the beginning of the Slow Motion Beat 02.2 region so that it starts at bar 13. The reason you're trimming rather than dragging it to bar 13 in the first place is because dragging the region so that it stops beyond the end of the project marker would move the marker accordingly to the end of the last region. Also, I want the region to have a different starting beat than the first. So, we are trimming this one all the way to bar 13. So I'm moving my playhead over there so that I can see where exactly I need to trim it to. I put my cursor in the lower left-hand corner and I drag that over to bar 13. And that's what I just did in number 11 on page 97. Flipping the page over to 98. Dragging the lower edge of the region trims the region. Dragging the upper right edge creates loops. To shorten the length of the blueprint beat 03 looped region, let's try a click trick with the loop tool that only works for trimming repeated segments of a loop. So number 12, in the blueprint beat 03 track, hover over the loop. Hover over the top half of the repeated segments of the loop. The cursor becomes a loop tool. Okay, so I'm going to move my playhead all the way to measure 17 then. We are on blueprint beat 03, and you'll notice that we've got all these looped regions right here. If I hover this over the top of a loop region, I get my loop tool instead of a regular mouse cursor. So if I go right here to number 17 and I click that, it will delete everything that's after number 17, measure number 17. It says the repeated segments of the loop stop at bar 17. If you didn't click exactly at bar 17, you can drag the lower right edge of the region to trim it to bar 17 as needed. Number 13 says play the project and save your work. Well, let's listen. Return or enter to return to 0, pressing spacebar to listen. Alright, it says, well done, you've created a rhythm track that accentuates parts of the melody and punches up the feel of the overall song. That's where we're going to stop right now, and next video we will start at 99 on project tasks.